Hello!
Hi, everybody!
Welcome to our channel. I'm Mystic Dylan, the Witch.
I'm Adele Levine, the medium.
And together we're the Witch and the Medium.
Yes.
There we go. And today's topic is working with deities.
Yes. So we have a podcast, The Witch and the Medium. For those of who are just finding this YouTube channel, check it out. And we did a subject on ancient Egypt. Death and rituals. Right.
So this is an expansion of that.
And we got a lot of questions.
We got a lot of questions.
Right.
A lot of it was working with deities. Now, we have done a podcast on deities.
We did.
But we'd like to expand on that.
But everybody wants, more.
Yeah, they always want more. And they want, what is our relationship with deities, which I think we talked about what deities were, but I don't think we necessarily talked about our personal relationship with deities.
Yeah, I never realized that.
Yeah.
I thought we did.
But I think we were more talking about it on a logistic term, not in terms of sometimes it's good to see how we
do it. Right.
Okay. So this is my first time here.
Yes.
So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Oh, yeah. So yeah, for those who don't know, we do the podcast usually at his place.
Yeah.
And it took some doing, but I got Dylan here to my place.
Yeah, it did.
And he's got.
It was supposed to be 30 minutes. How long did it take me to get here?
A little bit longer. But we don't say why.
We don't say why.
Those things private.
That's true.
But behind me,
this is Adela's altar.
But it's missing some.
Uh-oh.
It's missing things.
It's missing key components.
Because Dylan took them.
I did. I checked. Her altar statues, or two of them, Anubis and Sekhmet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to put these down for a second because I want to talk about, let's just talk about working with deities and also the differences because you work with deities and you work with angels.
Yes.
And I think that it's good
not
to...
angels.
Not angels.
I mean, not like guardian angels.
Right.
Kind of more archangels.
Yes, and it was so funny too because when we talk about archangels, I always go to archetypes. What is the first thing too is that what is an archetype, and I think that is important. The first thing when you're working with angels or fairies or deities, understanding what an archetype is. An archetype is a representation. Okay. So
I was going to ask you.
Yeah. So it's a representation. It's the ideology and the
the representation.
But expanding on representation, it's the attributes of something.
Right.
Okay. So at least for my practice, it's why do I work with Anubis? To me, Anubis is an attribute as a gatekeeper of the underworld.
Yes.
He is, in terms of his features, he's strong, he is loyal, so there's that loyalty to to the practitioners. There is that sense of he's very muscular. Anubis is fit. I guess maybe that's his cardio. He's constantly mummifying and rapping.
Yeah, and he's battling.
He's battling off the
trying to get in the underworld.
That's right. He's constantly opening that gate. I feel like it's really heavy, that gate. There's a lot there. And you know what? That's probably why he has his walking stick, his staff. It's hard out here for a god. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get struck down by lightning. But no, so think of it. So for me, when I work with deities, one of the questions is do you really feel that they're there? Yes, no. Okay.
Right.
Do I think that Anubis has the head of a jackal? No. He's an energy. He's a representation. And I think too, especially when you look at paganism or when you look at deities in general, it's more, Sekhmet. She is the sun. She's a protector. She is that energy of passion and fierceness. So all that is just a representation, what you relate to and how that can help with your craft.
Yeah, because it's energy. So a lot of people. Okay, so this came about because we're doing a seance and ritual.
Yeah.
Where Dylan's going to use an Egyptian ritual ancient Egyptian ritual to open up the gates. We're doing it on the 25th, by the way. Just
25th of January. Plug at El Cid on Sunset. Come on down.
And
we will have the info put in our link.
In our description.
Yeah.
What it really, all it is you just need to go to thewitchandthemedium.com and go to the events, and it'll take you to the Witch's Brew, who has the tickets on there. So, So anyway, we were discussing what we were going to be doing, and he's going to open up the gates, and opening up the gates is lifting, allowing the spirits to come in. So I just want to explain, when I do medium readings one-on-one, or I do a medium gallery where there's several people that I read in a room, I'm holding back all the other energies, and I do need protection and all that, but it's a little different than when with the seance you're ripping open the gates and you're allowing like all spirits to come in, connected to the people in the room and otherwise. And so Anubis to me, and I work with Saint Michael, to me is an energy of protecting between the worlds. So guardians that are saying, so when I'm talking to them, I'm not like, yo, what's up, Anubis?
Right.
Or what, yo, what's up, Michael? It's more like I am conjuring an energy source.
Absolutely. And here's the thing too, it's like I really feel that, Anubis or Michael, it's many different facets of the same think of it like a diamond.
Yeah.
So it's not so much like shine bright like a diamond. But no, so it's like I think on a level, yes, Michael and Anubis are separate entities, but they're also very similar.
Yeah.
It's just calling on...
It's like they come from the same camp. They come
from,
and they have the same assigned job.
Right.
And it's the same it's just energy. It's a frequency. It's an energy source that is,
And what I think too is like names of power.
Yeah.
It's just an additional name of power. Think of it as like... Michael had a really, really long name. Michael Anubis, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Like, Michael Anubis, Hades, da-da-da-da-da. Like, they're all the same.
Oh, I just got what you're saying. Okay.
I
got it.
So, but...
So they're same person.
Yeah.
With a long name.
With a long name. Yeah. Or, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I know. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to roll with it. But it's a representation. It's that archetype. Okay. Yes. And then, just going off that for you, Adela, obviously I have an idea of how what is your different, so like when you call on these energies, you obviously have a personal connection to these energies. And one thing that people, I know that one of the questions that get asked a lot is like, do you pick them? Do you choose you? Do they choose you? How do you work with them? Yeah. So we use it in a ritual, like you'll use it in the seance, but like, do you ever work with them like on your own, like on the day-to-day? Like, have you ever had a stressful day and you're like, I'm going to just call on the strength of like Sekhmet?
No.
Okay.
So this is how I see.
Good question, though, right?
That is a good question, Dylan. It's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I never thought of that question. Hairs in my face. Yeah. I've been told, this is what I've heard from that realm. The higher master frequencies are not dealing with the day-to-day.
They're not dealing with the mundane,
Yeah, they're not dealing with the mundane. So,
Anubis is not worried about Adela in her car.
No, and Michael isn't going to help you. I said this before, isn't going to help you find keys and things like this, because I've heard people say this. So, say, oh, Michael, help me find my keys.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It's again, there is no hierarchy in that realm. It's an acceptance of this is one energy that is being provided to help those out, and another energy is being provided.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So everyone just kind of agrees to a role and says, hey, you got that, I got that, I got that. So I kind of call upon those energies when I'm dealing with the spirit world, or when I'm feeling really lost and depleted in my own work as a reader and as a seer and as a medium, and I kind of feel like they're family.
I agree. I agree with that. That's my relationship with deities. Like, it's not, I've been with people where it's like, I gotta call on, sorry, I was in my own little world. I gotta call on, I was talking to them. It's like, I gotta call on Hecate because I can't find a parking space. No.
Right.
And I think by doing that, you're diminishing their role.
It's kind of disrespectful. Mm-hmm. It's because, kind of think about it if you had a master, like, teacher in martial arts or a master teacher, your professor. You probably wouldn't call your professor of geometry or calculus or something. And you can tell I don't know anything about like college math.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But you wouldn't call on your professor of philosophy to say, we're just trying to solve this, like, do ants notice us? I'm just saying.
Or giving change back. You wouldn't text your college professor and be like, listen, I was just at Ralph's. I used a coupon. I don't think they took the right percentage.
Right. Can you tell? Right. So that's why I'm saying there's energies that are agreeing to do work in different arenas. So those energies aren't like just pushing out for those type of things. There's other energies that help you with those everyday mundane things.
Right.
And
like a calculator. Sorry, I had to.
Or your iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would never. Whenever I have done this, when you're describing, it's usually been like, I don't know if I'm going to be, if I have the energy to do this work, or I'm going through something, I need the strength for that. But it's not like, oh, how's this day going to go?
Absolutely. And I feel too, so when you're doing spell work, a lot of people are like, do you have to use deities in spell work? You don't. Now, I will when there is a challenge or something difficult, okay? At the same time, too, one thing that, like, what I respect about you is that, like, you kind of have these set deities and entities that work for you and you have a relationship with.
Right.
Okay? I have found that a lot of people feel like they need to collect them like Pokemon. Do you get? It's true. People are like, I need to work with Isis, Dionysus, and I just went to a bookstore and I think, like, Lilith is cool, so I'm going to work with her. And, like, to me, that depletes.
You do have to feel like
you have to feel that connection.
I told you that I bought an Isis, even though I'm wearing Horus, I bought an Isis necklace before. And for some reason, it broke off of me and I never found it again. It just broke off. It was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was Hecate.
Oh, okay.
Not Isis.
Because I was like, Isis, like, you like Isis.
Yeah,
and Isis is the mom of Horus.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. It was Hecate.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this seems interesting. And I kind of did approach it differently than I had other things.
Yeah.
I didn't feel a draw, but there were other people around me that did. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe, I'll try. It broke off. I never found it. And I had this weird feeling of like, this isn't for you.
That's so interesting. Yeah. And maybe Hecate just checked out. She was like, you got this.
Like, because what is her?
Yeah, she's the goddess of witchcraft, but she's also the goddess of the crossroads and spirit world. But I'm also one I kind of feel like if you're already in that realm, maybe she doesn't have to provide anything for you.
Yeah,
she's kind of like, you got this,
right? Because
peace out.
She's using witchcraft to help with the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that makes sense because I never felt like that.
Yeah,
with Succumbent, it came. So when people ask, that came.
Yeah.
I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what was happening. I had this image. I had this experience, and I literally Googled it and went through all the ones I thought felt like what I felt and saw. So I do feel like if you got to get this world out of your mind. It's not like here.
You have to get out the mundane.
We're very big on like labels and names.
Yes. And another thing too is that like working with deities, and I have to say this is like, it's not a popularity contest.
Right.
So like, for example, I work with Hecate.
Yeah.
Or Hecate. A lot of people get really hung up on how they pronounce her name.
Yes.
Or Hey Kate if you're Shakespeare. But I work with her and she's become so mainstream now amongst like
she has.
witches. Everyone works with her. The thing though is that one, it doesn't make you a witch working with a goddess of witchcraft. Don't feel that you have to. Right. I know a lot of witches who don't work with deities. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of witches who work with obscure deities that you've never heard of. So like going back to that Pokemon reference, I feel like it's like, oh, Hecate's popular, I have to work with her.
Right.
Or I have to buy, this necklace of Hecate. Oh, going back to that, but it would be interesting if, like, when you lost your necklace, if someone else found it, and maybe they're working with her.
Yeah, maybe. Because, I mean, it was just, like, interesting because I remember feeling like, well, I guess this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And, but I do feel like, I do magic, I do different things, and I don't feel like I don't feel pressured. It didn't happen like that. As a matter of fact, I didn't know anything about deities. I knew nothing about archangels. All of this came very organic. It kind of just came,
yeah. And I'll tell you a story. So when I was just going off your necklace story, when I was at the Ren Fair, once, and there was a comedy tragedy mask charm just on the floor. And it was like in front of me, and I picked it up, and on the back, it had like a little laurel engraved in it, and it's like the comedy tragedy, and that's representative of Dionysus.
Oh.
And like, I do feel like that was a message. I do work with Dionysus. I relate with him. I feel like, I did theater as a kid, and I don't do it anymore, but that's kind of like my link.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that, and I would say, like, look out for messages. As Adela said, she didn't go out looking for deities or hunting for, who's the coolest or who's the most popular that I can work with.
No, I didn't even understand. And I never related to it being, like, really walking around.
Yeah.
I felt like it was just, I feel like when I work with it, because I work in the spirit world, and I work with Azrael, which came later, like almost recent in the past few years, which is the angel of death.
Yeah.
And it was literally like I was looking through archangels and I was like, wow. And I read the description and said, this feels like something I've had around me.
Yeah.
So it's just like an energy feeling that I like go, okay, this energy is going to help protect me. This energy is going to help me understand more about what I'm supposed to do. This other energy is going to stand guard. It's frequency energy source that because we here need labels.
Yeah.
We need names and we need boxes.
But in that world, it doesn't.
Don't.
Yeah.
Right.
And also too, Isis is a goddess that I work with. And when I was a kid, my mom, I didn't live with my mom for a long time. I lived with my grandparents, and I got very, like, I missed her.
Right.
And I always had these dreams of this woman with wings kind of hugging me and surrounding me. Like mothering me. And I'll never forget when I was 9, my dad took me to New York, and we went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, to the Egypt section, and I saw this huge engraving of this woman with wings, and it was Isis. And I was like, oh shit. Like, that's who I've been seeing. Yeah.
So I guess to start wrapping up,
right,
we're gonna say that when people ask about this, it's kind of like, I just believe everything if you just follow what really pulls to you. Like, I believe, like, anything I'm learning, like, actually, I know this sounds stupid, but I was, like, watching, like, makeup tutorials, and I was trying to follow this girl, and I was like, I don't know, I can't do whatever the hell she's doing. She's good at it.
Yeah.
And it might be right, but this doesn't work for me. So I took a little of what she said. I've took a little someone else said. And I'm like, and I'll do, like, mostly what is me. And you mix. I feel like everything should be like that.
Absolutely. But before you wrap up, I do want to know, how do you work with them? So, like, do you reach out to them? Like, I would say, just for anyone who wants to know, because I do offerings and stuff.
Then why don't you say that?
So I would say, when working with deities, when working with deities, so like Anubis, I have an Anubis on my altar. I'm coming over.
Okay.
I have an Anubis on my altar, and I'll take a picture later and show it. So, like, I'll leave incense.
That's mine.
Well, yes, this is Adela's.
Please, he has many statues.
I would leave incense. when you are talking to or when you're asking information from these deities, keep in mind that, as you said, they are these elders, they are these primal spiritual energies. So you always want to make sure that there is a sense of reciprocity. So don't just feel like you're taking. You kind of got to be mindful of that. But really to
even
kind of
if
approach them. Yeah, even if it's just being respectful. One thing that you mentioned too that I realize that I do subconsciously is that, you mentioned a lot talking telepathically. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't feel that you got to be like, hey, Anubis,
We're out the Anubis.
Yeah. You can just kind of sit there and be like, I really would like your presence. I would like your energy to kind of help me through. And you can kind of talk back and forth with that energy.
Yeah, right.
And I've also had communications with deities and spirits in dreams. They've kind of come through.
So that when you're dreaming, you're going there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're going to that realm. They're not.
He's talking to me.
He's not talking.
Yeah.
Because it's my Anubis. See, that's what I'm saying.
And also don't feel that you have to go and spend, $100 on a statue to work with us.
The truth is like, the funny thing is I'm joking that with him, but honestly, I don't see this as like...
Anubis.
Right.
He's not here.
I see this as like the same way as a phone.
Yeah. I like that. It's the conduit.
I'm just putting the symbol out there going, hey.
Yeah.
So it's cool if you call me up. Because I remember when I first got him, it was too much on my altar. The spirit world got too crazy. So I said, I'm just going to put you to the side to be like, yes, this energy is okay, but not all the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to ask you real quick. So with giving offerings, is that something witches have to do if they're doing that?
It's not something that witches have to do. For me, I do it because the ancient Egyptians did it. So it's kind of like, I like routine.
And what does it
and
do?
And it helps, to me, it mentally keeps me in check.
Okay.
It's kind of like a mental, but I don't feel like the world's going to fall apart because you didn't rush to your altar and you left an offering. I would say though, it also kind of keeps a consciousness of just how you mentioned, like connecting with them and approaching them and things like that. That kind of helps you when you have even if, like you said, Anubis is not in here,
right?
But like just him being on your altar, it does give you a little mental check-in of like, oh, sup.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when you ask how I do it, I do it the same way I talk to spirits. I just directly talk to them telepathically.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes, when I'm opening up the gates in front of my altar, I'll say it like in a whisper, but I don't like yell anything out or anything. But it's kind of like sometimes I want to say the words because the words kind of have a frequency and power. But I do just telepathically ask them to, stand guard at the gate. Also, like when we're going to do the seance on Saturday, I'll do a lot of stuff to prepare for it, and I'll ask for them. And I may even call in after he does his ritual, Michael, just because I feel like I need to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's more of me talking to them telepathically out loud. I just kind of connect. And I just
it's her crew.
And then I just kind of say thank you, and then it's like I'm just going to log off the internet. It's the same way I do with spirits.
And I would say just to add on that and kind of going back, like in terms of like when you're finding deities, I would say pay attention to things that you see in the real world.
Yeah.
If you find that when you go out there are a bunch of stray cats, you may want to look at Bast or Freya or any of those goddesses because those are representations.
Right. And for me, it was birds. Birds
that's so awesome.
Flying into me. Almost into my car. It was like a ridiculous amount of birds that it started making me pay attention to the flight of something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So Dylan, we're gonna wrap up.
Oh, look, I have
video.
Horus.
Yeah.
You mentioned birds. Look at that. That Horus energy.
And there you go. That's probably why I'm drawn to
look at that.
This energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I've always been drawn to flight and sun.
That's awesome.
I've always been drawn to that.
And I'm always drawn to the moon and the lunar energy. Mm-hmm. It's, oh my God, we're like the light and dark.
We said this before.
We did?
We said we're yin and yang.
We are. We're yin and yang. Okay. Awesome. Pretty soon, in the next 6 months, she's going to have a full body tattoo.
No.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I'm gonna convert her.
I'm not gonna.
Kidding.
I don't have anything against, but I'm too fickle. I like them on other people, but I'm like, that's why my tattoos where I can't see it. Because I'm very fickle.
Because you'd wake up one day and be like, I want a different one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm really scared that I'll get bored with it, and then I'm like, I can't do anything.
Yeah, I feel you.
I don't trust myself.
I feel you.
But I like them on other people.
Yeah.
All
well,
right.
with that said,
so you can follow us on The Witch in the Medium podcast as well, and our Instagram, The Witch in the Medium.
Subscribe
here and leave comments.
Leave a comment.
Leave us comments on the next video subject you might want us to do, and things you want to hear from us, and questions you may have, and we'll answer them. And subscribe. And Dylan. Oh, and I have a YouTube channel, and he has a YouTube channel.
And I have a YouTube channel too. We have individual YouTube channels.
So, and Dylan, you can follow him on Mystic
Dylan Official on Instagram, or mysticdylan.com.
That's right, and AdelaLevine.com. So thank you guys so much. This was our first video. We know we'll like get a hang. We're used to like doing a podcast where we just kind of like chill and talk and don't pay attention.
And we'll know where to look
to the camera, and it will grow and evolve. But we've gotten a lot of cool responses that people wanted this. So thank you so much. And we have to say thank you to Max.
Oh, thank you. If you look at our intro video.
And outro. He actually sent me an outro after show.
What?
Yeah.
So,
he did
shout out to Max.
He did that for us, and then we put some music to it. And so thank you so much.
Oh, and also thank you to our sponsors for our seance and ritual.
Oh, that's right.
We have some really cool ones.
We have some really cool ones. We have
the Pretty Cults. The Deer Woman giving us awesome Egyptian themed teas. So we have the Pickety Witch.
So here's the thing. They are sponsoring. We have these black and gold bags that we're going to put goodies in. It's a swag bag. And also the Pickety Witch is giving us these amazing
They are
pins.
stunning.
Are beautiful. That when you come, you get a pin. If you get the black and gold, you get one type of pin. And if you get a ticket for just the seance and ritual,
you get another pin.
You get another pin, but everyone's going to get these beautiful pins and a swag bag. And if you get the black and gold package, you get an hour with us and a drink and some food, and you get to hang after the ritual seance.
We have Three Coast Crossroads that made ritual kits for Anubis.
That's his. And we also, from The Witch in the Medium, we have a little goodie in there, a goodie bag from us. So
awesome.
We're super excited.
Yay.
Yeah, so thank you to
thanks for watching. Listen to our podcast, subscribe, and you guys are awesome. Have a magical day.
Don't like to say goodbye, so see you soon.